we have two 1993 Mustangs. They pull up on the line. They're getting ready for a drag race. They stage. They take the light. One in the left lane is a red car. Right lane is a blue car. Now, these cars are identical. Both 5-speed, both 5-liter cars. Basically stock. As the light turns green, they both take off. And the blue car gets to jump off the line. It's about a half car length ahead of the red car. Shift from first to second. Shift from second to third. Red car jumps out in front of the blue car. Crosses the finish line first. Now what we have going on inside the car is a lot of mechanics are going on. Inside the blue car, jumped out front, a good driving, get the third gear, get that shift, and misses. Red car, same type of thing. Only a successful shift from second to third before we're crossing the finish line. Now to the drivers, the guy in the red car thinks he caught him on the shift. And his car was just faster. He's a better driver. Guy in the blue car knows his failure. Now everybody else watching out in the crowd, part of those people are going to see that he got beat down the track. At the end of the track, he just jumped out in front. Part of the people are going to think that he was cheating and he had nitrous. And he hit the nitrous at the end of the track. Others are going to say he pedaled him. Some will say the guy in the blue car he lost on purpose. You have another section of people that may be watching this race on television. They're going to see a totally different story depending on the camera angle. They're going to think it's a heads up, straight up race. Red car just, walked him down. You're going to have a lot of differences in opinion. Even the drivers in the race aren't going to know the full story of what went on in the other car. They know what went on in their car. But how do you put all these things together? That's where we get into what we call critical thinking. And critical thinking, it goes back as the early days of Socrates, Plato, in those days, psychology, philosophy, things like that. Now, critical thinking is when you analyze facts. And one of the things on the situation I just laid out, when you analyze things, how many facts do you actually know? How many facts does the guy in the red car know? What are the facts of the guy in the blue car? What are the facts of the people watching at home? What are the facts of the crowd that was there? All those facts, that you can call them facts, but they're all going to be different. So is it factual or is it just a matter of an opinion? Well, critical thinking also, involves skepticism, rationalization, being unbiased, the ability to evaluate factual evidence. Like I said, what exactly is a fact? Now, you can take your perspective and you can critically think from your perspective, but you're not going to have a 360 degree or 720 degree view of everything that went on. And this is the way things in your life can work just as well. Now we hear the term critical thinking being thrown around, and sometimes I think it's mistaken when people use it. They use it in a way that's more persuasive when they ask you to think critically. There's some that are basically asking you to think like me. Oftentimes that's one-sided. And this goes back a few years where a lot of people were saying you need to be more open-minded. And basically that means you need to think more like me, not open-minded. Because critically thinking and being open-minded is the ability to rationalize things. It's the ability to have a perspective, a point of view from all sides, not just one. And then maybe you're in a situation where you do test those theories. Maybe you're in a situation where you can discuss those theories, those possibilities. But being able to have a round picture of it and then come up with I guess you could call sometimes a solution, or sometimes a result from the equation, the answer. Sometimes you come up with that. But in the situation you're given with the two cards, how does everybody come to the same conclusion? If you're at a sporting event, you have a post-show interview that people conduct, and you find out what went on and what the perspective of each driver was, what people saw. And there can be some things that are put together. There's always going to be that skepticism of some, whether that driver in the car is actually given the actual or the factual rundown of what went on from inside the car. Was he transparent about what went on? And there's be some skepticism about if he actually just didn't make it up, or maybe he's leaning on excuses for being a bad driver. Or did it actually happen? And as we know in the race game that goes, the guy in the blue car wants to run again. And if he wins the second race, there's going to be a third. So you're going that 2 out of 3. So for a lot of those situations, you always wonder if that person is looking for a reason for a rematch. There's some skepticism there. There's some people that'll believe it. This also goes on in the fight game. If you're MMA, also if you're, jiu-jitsu matches, you're going to have different points of view. People are going to see something totally different than the people that are participating in the event, that's living the experience. So a lot of your thinking and your critical thinking just comes down to your point of view. Where do you sit? Sometimes this comes down to how you feel beforehand. Maybe you favor one person over the other, and your perspective is kind of straight because maybe you're a bigger fan of one person over the other, or maybe your guy didn't win, or your girl didn't win, so you come from a different point of view, and your reasoning may be a little bit skewed based on that. So something about critical thinking is always be rational, unbiased, and evaluate factual evidence. The key in there is factual. Is your facts are always going to be limited to a certain degree. So that's where your error comes into play. So just a few thoughts on critical thinking and applying that into the world. There's an abundance of situations you can kind of throw that up and apply it to. And I'm sure as you're walking through your day today and from here on, you'll have the ability to think critically. And I appreciate you tuning in this week for the Mega Talks podcast. Remember, I record a new podcast every Monday, and you can find it here. And make sure that you share this with a friend. Leave me a review if you're on iTunes, and leave a comment. Let me know what you thought about the show, or if you have anything that you want to discuss. And I'll catch you guys next time on the next episode.